Good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. How you feeling this morning? It's a beautiful day, and we always promise we're going to start you on your way. And folks, we got something here that kind of exciting for the Bitcoin folks. Kicking it off this morning in the world of finance. Bitcoin looks like it's going to top 60K and on a record high. Uh, so for all you crypto lovers and Bitcoin lovers, everything's rocking and rolling. So it's a community that believes this is the new digital currency that will be taking place. So if you like crypto and you like Bitcoin, that's going to be the way to go. It's over 60,000. Understand that's a volatile swing. As you know, we saw Bitcoin go down as low as 12,000. Here's the deal. Everything is moving and shaking. Palester soars after near 1 billion fundraise, upbeat outlook. So that's positive. We're always going to need capital to actually be able to execute. And here's the deal, as Money Mike has told you, with the housing market and the Home Depot has been down and what's going to be headed. Well, demand for housing is falling as mortgages hold above 7%. So the money's too high to borrow, and nobody wants to buy, but that's going to change. But there's going to be a few corrections before we make that change. So here's the Money Mike Syndicated Podcast. What we try to tell you is we're going to give you our opinion. But if our opinion becomes truth, then we're giving you the facts before they happen. And there's some movement going on. I mean, the housing and everything. And I tell you what, man, this is pressure, pressure, pressure. Now, a lot of us take a look and we see things that are not really being said. But I'm telling you, the banks are going to feel the pressure because if you're not moving the mortgages and there's no money coming in. So we got to figure out what's going on. Google, okay, the media groups are hit Google with a $2.3 billion lawsuit. Now, here's what's going on there. I mean, Google's a mogul media. That's a mega mogul media company. And you're talking about $2.3 billion. So we may reevaluate that, get into it a little bit, see what's going on. You got Norvet's stock drops after fourth quarter losses. As I told you, folks, you're going to have to eventually report the losses. You're not going to be able to sit back, relax, and just act like they're not there. And that's where I believe the banking crisis is, because we got a lot of presence in international. And eventually, you're going to have to write off the losses. You can't keep holding on. Now, here's where Disney, you talk about building a new revenue stream. Reliance and Disney to create an $8.5 billion powerhouse in India. India's in play, folks. India is in play. And how do I know India is in play? When we were going through the coronavirus, we had to shut down, and Apple couldn't get it done in China. They had to go to India. So that's what's happening there. All these things are going to shake, and eventually they're going to come on back home. So everybody's got to know that when you look at these things and how they roll themselves out, folks, there's some blood getting ready to come into the water. And when the blood hits the water, I'm going to tell you better be ready for it. And Money Mike, as I tell you, what we do here is corporate enterprise business. We also are going to cover the NBA, the NFL, the NCAA, the HBCU, as far as the sports evaluation. And then we'll take you in the current affairs. So we're going to ride in our range a little bit as we get going. So what's going on in the world of sports? The NBA, it's tough to follow. You got to kind of go back and forth with it. You got to look at it and say, when are these guys going to play and when is it not? Okay. So, but if you look at it, I mean, you got to understand Caitlin Clark's killing it. I love Caitlin Clark. She's chasing Pistol Pete, and I think she can do it. I mean, there's nothing that she can't do as a player. I mean, between her and Angel Reese, I mean, what I tell America is you always got apple pie and sweet potato pie. When you got apple pie and sweet potato pie, you got to understand something about that and what it actually means, because here's the deal. It's two different flavors, but they both taste good. Okay? What else is going on out there? Got Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. They're killing it. The Sixers, they didn't have a chance, and it's understandable. But the fact that Boston's getting it done, and there's no problem. And I heard a lot of people talk about Doc Rivers. So let me tell you a little bit about Doc Rivers. Because at the end of the day, Doc Rivers, you know what his job is? You know what they utilize him for? They utilize him for a fix-it man, okay? So people are talking about, I hear J.J. Redick talk about his coaching. He's not doing it. They're only called doc when you got an organization that has superstars and you got problems. Okay, that's what they call doc for. And when you look at that, folks, and you see how that plays itself out, then you kind of know that, what are these folks talking about? I mean, Doc's just a fix-it man. It's a role. I mean, Mark Jackson should have the same role, but they chose not to give it to him. So we're kicking it in here, folks. We got some smooth jazz going to you this morning. We're going to rock this one up. We got Brian Chelsea. He's the producer. And going over to soundclick.com and make sure that you kind of look around. If you're in the music business, look around and see what you can find. But, I love this gentleman. He really puts it down. I love the piano player as well. Okay, so here's the deal. You got the Chiefs. Chris Jones wants to stay there. The defensive lineman that gave the 49ers problems. Okay, they're looking at the franchise tag. Chris Jones, man, he loves Kansas City, loves the organization, loves his teammates. He's probably going to just go ahead and ride that out. There's no rush. Okay, and you know what? Here's the deal with the Bears. The Bears are the bad news Bears. It's the Chicago Bears I'm talking about, folks. They're the bad news Bears. Let me tell you about the bad news Bears. They made it all the way up to the mountaintop. They were at the top of the mountain. Let me tell you what the Bears did. The Bears went ahead and decided, you know what, Lovie Smith, you're not good enough. Okay, but we're going to bring in another quarterback guy to coach the offense. Well, the Bears ain't seen a winning season since. I mean, it's just a catastrophe. So here's what you do. And I told you this thing about African-American quarterbacks. So here's what we got. We got another one. No, these guys are good, okay? I mean, you're going to look at it, and you're going to say, okay, Justin Fields, he's going to play somewhere, and he's going to be successful in this league. He's just not going to do it in Chicago, but then don't be fooled by the bait and switch. Folks, let me tell you about the bait and switch and how that works itself out. When you get the bait and switch going and you get everything working from the top to the bottom, here's what you got with the bait and switch. They need the draft pick. So somebody else, it's Caleb Williams. And they know he's going number one. They just want to see how much value you're going to get it. And if you're going to move from the second pick for the first pick, it's going to cost you some value, okay? There's no doubt about it. So it may be a little horse trading going on there. I wouldn't necessarily say it's true. But I got another story I'm going to bring to you. And you know what? At the HBCU, St. Augustine, they have lost their accreditation in the HBCU in Raleigh, North Carolina. And that's major, folks. And kind of what happened is interim president's in there now. They're going to appeal the decision. Okay, but this one here, this is tough when you're losing your accreditation. And folks, let me tell you what's happening here, because I kind of saw the writing in the wall. And I have some friends. And folks, you want to know something about me, Money Mike, and what I believe in and what I do and how I sit. Folks, I went to Chico State in 1980, and I was a black Republican. Okay, and I took on every other African-American there. It didn't matter to me because I studied business. So at the end of the day, if somebody can come to me and tell me how somebody can be in business and be a Democrat, I don't get it. I'm confused. So you need to educate Money Mike. The comments is open, and my door is open, and it's not going to stop. That's just the way it rolls. But, since then, we've had a lot of controversy. And with all the controversy, everybody says, okay, we need a party in the middle. What we need is a truth ticket. If we can get a truth ticket, folks, let me tell you something. If we can just get a truth ticket, if you just said, hey, you know what, we got a Republican, we got a Democrat, and we have a truth ticket. I'm voting for the truth. That's where Money Mike is. He's voting for the truth. And when I tell you I'm voting for the truth, folks, you know what? Let me just break it down here. Because, see, when I looked at St. Augustine, okay, that's media. Okay, so here what we're going to do, we're going to start with the HBCUs, universities of historical black colleges, St. Augustine. But Money Mike don't stop there because, you know what, I've been looking at this for a long time, folks. And when you're losing your accreditation, this situation here is really bad, okay? Now, of course, what Money Mike does, he's got to go check it out because I want to see what's happening. And I've been studying this thing for a while. I'm going to go all the way back to 1994. Okay. And here's what's happening, because, folks, if you don't know, I'm going to let you know. And if you don't know, here's what I'm going to tell you. The universities are going to get a little taste of Reaganomics. Now, I told you I went through Richard Nixon, Lyndon B. Johnson, okay? So this little party you guys are talking about Trump, this is nothing. The universities are about to get the Republican Reaganomics, okay? And it ain't going to be fun. It's going to be a bloodbath for them. But I got all my friends out there, and folks, some of this costing us friendship because they think you're crazy. And I'd say, hey, you don't know business. And we go round and round and round, and I can tell by your conversation after 30 seconds of you talking to me, I can tell whether or not you know business and how good you are. And here's what's going to happen, folks. The universities, I'm going to go even further. So we went all the way to Raleigh, but we're going to bring it back to California. You know, because we're residing here in Sacramento, California. Let me tell you what's going on. You got San Francisco City College is about to lose their accreditation. Okay, now what does that mean when you lose your accreditation? That means your university is not even qualified as a university anymore. Your degree is meaningless. Okay, so what does that mean? The students have to get out of there, and they've got to go somewhere else. Okay, but this thing is getting to California, and I know the root of it. And, folks, I have told you this. For the life of me, I got friends, and, man, they protect their baby. They're in education, and you know, this thing is not good. So let's get to it. How the government is saying this. Back in 1994, the president, Hillsdale College, he said how government funding is destroying America higher education. Okay, and when you look at this and look at what he wrote back then, okay, these are facts, folks. And I'm going to bring it to you to today because these are the facts of what's going on, how's it going on, and what problem we got. And this is where the Reaganomics is going to clean it up. And I'll tell you, the target is tenure. Okay, for the life of me, here's the deal. I don't know how they've been doing this, but there's no accountability. But here's what George Roach, president of Hillsdale College, he says, America higher education is a perfect example. In the 60s, the total budget for U.S. college universities was about $7 billion. In the early 90s, largely because of massive state and federal funding, it surpassed $170 billion. Yet tens of thousands of college seniors do not know when Columbus sailed to the New World, who wrote the Declaration of Independence and why we have the Civil War as fought. Businesses rightly complain that they must re-educate college graduates in the science basic academy skills as grammar, spelling, practical math. And folks, that's what's going on right now. Okay, so when you look back at it and you see it, let me tell you how this all works out. You got Apple, you got Google, okay? You got Apple, you got Google, you got all the corporate, all these companies. They don't even want the college graduates anymore. That's how bad the university system has failed. Now, here is the truth of it. And with the university, and these are their babies, and they're protected. And, folks, I'll tell you, if you ever start talking to people who are in education, they're going to tell you have no idea. Well, Money Mike doesn't have to have an idea of education and how your model works. I can tell you that this model is broken. This model's not going to work. I don't need to be in your meetings. I don't need to be around you. Folks, in business, let me tell you something, because here's what's going down. The GOP and the university systems, they're going to get a taste of Reaganomics. Because at the end of the day, you got people running universities. You got presidents sitting in universities. See, don't even know how to run a business. Don't even know how to run a corporation. Okay? And they're losing money. And at the end of the day, when you have Wall Street, because that's what's going to happen. They're going to need Wall Street to come in. They need business guys to come in. Because one of the things Money Mike knew when he first opened up and he started, you know, the nonprofit, and we're doing basketball, and my tax attorney's Matson. You know what Matson told me? He said, Mike, let me tell you something. You know, I get all these people coming here and talk about a nonprofit. Let me tell you what you got to do. Okay? And you know what? When you pay an attorney, you get good advice. This is the best advice he ever gave me. He said, Mike, even though you're a nonprofit, you still got to generate revenue. Okay? And for the life of me, the universities, okay, have not thought they need to generate a dime of revenue. Okay? But that ain't the issue at the university, because Money Mike's going to go deeper. And I'm going to tell you where it's going to hit, because AI is coming. Why in the world is it high school teachers' salaries are so low and the university professors salaries are so high. This is backwards, okay? I could use another word, but I can't use that. So what are you saying there, Money Man? What are you trying to say? You're saying that something's wrong. Yeah, because here's what you got, folks. You got a lot of people walking around these universities with tenure. And what this gentleman brought out in 1994 is just basically saying you got a lot of professors with tenures teaching about 7 hours a week. Okay, and you know what? Here's the thing at the universities, because here's where, guys, you got to be cautious. Because all my friends, they already told me. I mean, we sometimes we don't speak behind this because they think they know more than me. And I'm telling you, you don't know nothing about business. And here's what you got. These guys are not teaching. These guys are at these universities, and I'm just telling you right down the facts. Because from AT&T, one thing I learned is I can walk into any business model. And the other thing, while I was in AT&T, I always appreciate AT&T. I thank you. Is because while you're there, they believe in education. And while I was there, we'd go into the training, man. I'm studying at the Harvard School of Business. Okay, and when you get that kind of information, man, that's a lot of power. Okay, and here's what's going on with this business model and why it's broken. Okay, is you got tenured professors. Nobody's leaving. I mean, you could stay there till you're 80 years old, okay? And guys are getting high salaries, okay? They're getting high salaries, and they're running around here. You know, they got their own Book of the Month club, okay? This is the Book of the Month. This is the book I wrote. Folks, you know, if you went into a venture capitalist and says, I'm getting ready to start a book company, and I'm getting ready to write paperbacks, you know what he'd do? He'd call security, okay? Because he knows there's no profit in it, okay? But why are they doing this? Because they got the high salaries, and they're doing it off the people's money. Now, here's in corporate America, you got a CEO. He has a duty and responsibility to the shareholders, okay? And if that CEO can't meet the targets, okay, and here's the thing, some of the universities need to go attend one of these shareholders meetings and read a proxy and understand that you got to come and give the expectations, and you got to meet it, okay? And you got to be very well designed of how you're going to meet that expectation, the amount of revenue you're going to be in, the price per share you're going to raise to, okay? And then what happens sometimes when they find out they got challenges, they adjust it, okay? But when they come back and adjust that, what they're going to do as far as the target and what they had anticipated, when they adjust that, folks, you know what happens? Let me just kind of break that down. Then you get the analysts come forth, and they downgrade your stock. They tell you, hey, this is an A, this is a B, this is a C, this is a D. What they call it, as they do in the grading system at the university, they call that a don't buy because you're getting an F as your performance, okay? So when Money Mike kind of breaks this down, here's what's going on at the university. You got college professors making $150,000 a year plus, okay, not working, and the results of their performance is horrible, okay? In 94, it's gotten worse today. So, and nobody has to be accountable to this. And see, and Money Mike is like, how can you run a business where you're dealing with the government's money, okay, and you're running a deficit? They're giving you this money to produce students to go into the world. But you got corporate America saying you're producing garbage, okay? So that's the issue right there. Now, let's go a step further. With all these individuals that are working there, and of course, none of them are going to agree, this is going to turn into, well, when I say you guys, they're going to say, well, don't say you guys because it's not me. See, here's when everybody's going to spin it. Okay, it's not me. It's not me. No, it is you. Okay, because if you've been working at those schools for that amount of time, okay, and you don't have a track record of high performance, and this is where it all came to pass. When the coronavirus hit, folks, the universities were basing all this off student population. Okay, this is their bread and butter, but they failed. So not only did they take the government's money, okay, and run that into a deficit, okay, now they've also taken the students' money, because now they come in there and you got the students getting student loans and they can't get hired in corporate America, they can't get jobs. So now you put them in a deficit. And now you put the parents who are giving the students money, because the money that the school gives you only covers so much, but you need additional money to live and go on. So you're running a huge deficit. You know what happens in corporate America when a CEO runs a deficit? Okay, that means somebody, a shareholder, and God forbid if you got a major shareholder, because he's going to take over your company. Okay, and if you haven't seen a show, you want to go enjoy some of this, go watch Billions. Go put it on demand and watch Bill. I'm telling you, he'll tell you. Because the play is in there. And I'm telling you, the GOP, the Republicans, man, they are coming, and they are coming fast and quick for this one. So here's what happens when you lose your accreditation. Because like City College San Francisco, that's a huge school. They're not losing their accreditation for their teeth. They're using their accreditation for mismanagement of money. Okay? You're mismanaging money. Okay? And when you start mismanaging money, folks, let me just let you know something. Here's Brian Chesley going to kick it into the low rider. Man, that guy's just a domino. But when you're losing money, you can't just stay there. Okay? But these tenured professors, no matter what the results of what they produce, they could stay and stay and stay and continue to get paid. The flip side of that concern is that Money Mike sees is, with a lot of these schools, they have their own financial system and their retirement programs, and they're not paying any money into Social Security. They're not paying any money into it. So here's the deal that goes a little bit further than that. These guys get their universities. They're there. They're not producing results. The university's in debt. Okay, the colleges are in debt. Okay, now the students are in debt. Now the parents are in debt. And finally, we're going to put a stop to this madness. Because at the end of the day, this is not what we come here for, okay? So here's what's going to happen. They're going to clean it up. And let me tell you how they're going to clean it up. Because AI is coming. And this is like the college coaches in the NCAA. The professors think they matter. AI is coming. You don't matter. Okay, it's not going to matter. I don't know why you're confused. But they're going to do just like every corporate business does. And if you bring a corporate CEO into these universities, the first thing the corporate CEO is going to do, he's going to cut the fat. Okay, he's going to cut the fat. You got all these people making all these high salaries. Okay, you're not producing the result you're supposed to do. Then the finger pointing is going to start. Okay, but it doesn't matter at that point. Okay, you got a CEO coming through the door, and man, oh man, I'm telling you, we're going to cut the fat. And when I'm talking about cut the fat, everything that's not producing revenue, okay, we're going to cut the fat. And here's where I'm going with this. You got schools who have dropped football programs. Money Mike, I covered the league, so NFL, I know the football program. That is the best revenue-producing sport that you have. But schools can't have football because you have all of these professors making these high salaries. And when that CEO walks through the door, and this government right now is being the CEO, they're going to cut the fat. And when they cut the fat, they're saying that you got so many people, so much salaries. And you know what happens in corporate America? When you got so many salaries out there and everybody's making money and everybody's feeling good about it, you know what they do? They say, you know what? You didn't turn a profit. We're going to cut it down, okay, because your stock price is falling. And that's what's happening to the universities right now and the junior colleges. Their stock prices have fallen from mismanagement of money. Okay, and these guys think they've got so much education, but they can't run a business. That's confusing to me. And they don't understand why they're in a deficit, and they keep asking for more money. Okay, we need more money, more money. Well, how can I give you more money if you're mismanagement? Now we got all the way through it. Okay, here you go, Biden. Biden's doing his deal, okay? Kamala Harris, you're doing your thing, but you guys are letting these people mismanage money. And when they're mismanaging money, here comes the Republicans. And folks, let me tell you something. When the Republicans come in, they ain't got no loyalty and no love for nobody. There's no loyalty and there's no love. And we ain't giving no more free money because you don't know how to manage a university. So here's what we're going to tell you. We're going to go ahead and take this over, okay? We're going to strip you out. We're going to get rid of all these employees. Because if you get rid of all the high salaries at universities and you bring some of these high school teachers up, I guarantee you, man, you're going to have better results, okay? Because there's a disconnect in education. And then everybody who works in education, they think the system's fine. I never found a business model that you can have that you're losing money, whether you're a profit for business or a nonprofit. And the way these guys need Wall Street. These guys need corporate America CEOs to come in and cut the fat. And I guarantee you this, when you cut all the fat, you're going to find out now you've got an institution that runs like a business like it's supposed to. So we're not going to stop there. Money Mike, I went Chico State. So I had to keep on digging. I see City College San Francisco. That's where I played football. So Money Mike's not going to stop there. You know what I was able to do? I went on over and I looked at Chico State, okay? And Chico State just got a brand new president. They just came through the door. And he came through the door just recently. And here's what happened with that when he walked through the door. They got a $20 million deficit, okay? This is my home university, all right? So I'm sitting here for the life of me. Why you can't have the most generating revenue sport back? Now I understand why. I understand. And folks, the solution to that, Money Mike's got that. I'm gonna tell you, and like I tell you, for my years of Big Blue AT&T, I was a dedicated account man. I had Reddy and I had accounts at Chico. And I went into Chico State. I looked around the building. I saw the banners. I saw none of the business that I actually managed. So that tells me we've lost contact. And I'll tell you what, I got a business model to put it back together. But I'll tell you, the athletic program, they can't bring football back, but the boosters can. And you know what? I penciled it out. It probably takes about $5-6 million a year. And the revenue we're going to make that's probably a break even. It's not going to cost anybody any money. You're going to get a lot of merchandise sales. And here's what you got to know with Chico State football. We went 5-0 my last year. That's a long time ago, 1987. But let me tell you what I saw. We are Marshall. Okay, there's not a more beautiful scenery, okay, in Chico, California. See the fans of the Chico State Wildcats fans walking to the game. So if you saw the movie We Are Marshall, that's what we were. We went 5-0, okay. We beat them all. We beat Santa Clara. We beat Sacramento State. We just beat them up, okay. And you know what? We started that thing when I got there, man. They'd have about 5,000 fans. Pretty soon we had 10, 12, 15. It's packed house. Okay, so you can't tell me how to make money and make business. But I can tell you this, you got to have revenue that's got to come in. So here's where Money Mike is going with this. It's a problem, okay? And I told you it started all the way in Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay, you got St. Augustine. That one hit the press. Okay, but the other ones are starting to come out. And this is a blood bath. You're hearing it from Money Mike's first. And I'll tell you, a lot of times you'll hear me say things, it's my opinion. But if it becomes truth, I've given you the facts before it happened. And I told all my friends, and they looked at me like I'm crazy. Your business model is horrible. And you guys don't know anything about how to run a business. You don't know how to run a corporation. And here you're sitting as a nonprofit with all these revenue streams around you, and you're still asking for more money. Man, the Republican Party is coming. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, I told you guys, I done been through Nixon, Lyndon B. Johnson, Reaganomics, Ronald Reagan. Okay, you got George Bush. You got George W. Bush. Come on, guys. Let's just get this right. You guys are worried about Donald Trump. Donald Trump don't bother me because when it comes to enterprise business, I stay on my side of the tracks, and we don't have to get along to do business together. But one of the things I did do with Donald Trump back with Donald Trump's name, what the name was now, he was a young, experienced businessman. I read his Art of the Deal. Folks, if you haven't read The Art of the Deal, that's a wonderful book. Now, whatever his person, the ghostwriter that's saying now, you say what you want, but I know it had a big impact on my life. And, you know what, like I said, I went to Chico State. I was Black Republican. So, at the end of the day, they came to me and y'all challenged me. So don't get it wrong. Don't think Money Mike's going to run from the challenge. I mean, you can hit me with the comments. But if somebody can tell me there's a book out there that the Democrats have been able to come in there and say how to be a Democrat when you're in business, because when you're in business, folks, if you're raising my labor load with tax, everybody says, okay, raise the minimum wage. But now we got labor loads that come behind it. So what happens? We got labor load. We got to pay the workers' comp. We got to pay additional fees along the line. So at the end of the day, folks, when you sit back and you say, okay, how's this going to pencil out? And you got these universities, man, they burn through billions in capital. Billions in capital. And they haven't produced a result, and the jig is up. Okay, and all these people walking around a university till they're 85 years old and just sitting there and got tenure, that jig is up too. They're going to eliminate that because AI can teach what you teach. And they can do a better job, and they can also program it to teach what what the corporate America and the corporations want you to have, because they are scrapping university. They don't even want university graduates. And that's a shame, okay? That's a shame. But we're going to keep it with you. What we always promise to do is we'll give you the secret truth, the uncut truth, okay? And we'll take you behind the scenes. So this situation is horrible. It's going to get worse. Even my homeschool's got a $20 million deficit. And for the life of me, okay, I mean, this situation about students and what you've done to get students, you want more students so you can get more money. That's got to end, folks. That one's over. That play is played out, and here's what's happening with it. Everybody knows it. So at the end of the day, you're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast, And we got some new equipment. We got everything moving around. We're trying to scale up. We're moving in the right direction. And but at the same time, we appreciate you. We appreciate the patience you have. But let me tell you this: the money train is cut off in the universities. Okay, they're going to lose their accreditation, not for all the teaching, because they're walking around there with a wealth of knowledge. It's not doing anything with it. They're going to lose it because mismanagement of the government funds, mismanagement, okay, of the students' funds, and mismanagement of the parents' funds. And a lot of finger pointing. And when I talk about it, they're going to say, don't talk about it, it's not me. Because everybody at the university, when it comes to plagiarism and everything, they hold on to an alphabet. It's an alphabet. Yeah, I didn't say this. I didn't say it. Yeah, that's garbage. Okay, I don't need that. I'm going to tell you the way it is. I'm going to keep it 100. And I'm going to tell you right now, the GOP party is coming. Tenure, Money Mike will say, will be eliminated. And accreditation, because you're going to have to make a decision. And this is where they're going to lose the tenure back. Because I tell you how to lose it. Either you want the government's money or you want tenure. Because if you want tenure, you ain't getting our money. Okay? And that's just keeping it real here on the Money Mike Syndicated Podcast. So when these guys keep moving along, folks, this story's just going to keep going and going. I'm going to keep touching on it. But this is a current affair. This is happening now. And it's also happening at my university. And if that means it's happening there, then, folks, by the time I go digging deeper and deeper all the way up the line, you're going to find there's a huge hole. And if you can't get out of this hole, folks, you're talking about something like Lehman Brothers, okay? Lehman Brothers, this is a toxic environment, and it is crashing down, okay? Because the government, the Republicans are not giving you any money, okay, until we figure out that you have the capability of running a university and you get the fat cut. And what happens is the universities and these CEOs who are running the universities, here's what happens. Okay, let me just kind of back it up. Here's what happens. If you're not making a profit in corporate America, the shareholders want you out. That's why I always say the duty and responsibility of a CEO is to his shareholders, okay? Right now, the university shareholders are the students and the parents and the government, okay? And their shareholders are not happy, okay, with the performance. So if they're not happy with the performance, they're going to snatch your accreditation. What do they do then? That means you're nothing, okay? And then they're going to get it right. So stay tuned. Money Mike told you guys this was going to happen a long time ago. I told you your business model won't work at the universities. And what'd you guys tell me? I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, now you know what I'm talking about, because here comes the government snatching accreditation for guys mismanaging money. So that's what we do. We're the Money Mike Syndicated Podcast. We cover corporate business. We cover NBA, NFL, HBCU sports, and we cover current affairs. Okay, and this happens to be a current affair, and the blood gap has begun. So you stay tuned. We'll be with you, and we'll see you soon. You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast, and we promise you this. All things are possible to those who believe. We promise that we're going to get better and better so we can take you higher and higher. We'll see you, and we look forward to it. You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast.